Hello, and welcome to another monthly reading from Karen's Colours. I'm Dr. Karen, an Australian sociologist with a primary interest in the language of colour as it pertains to the way in which people view each other and also in the way in which we act in our everyday lives. This month, I've decided to choose a new oracle that I received just recently. It's by Sharina Starr, and it's called the Fortune Oracle. There aren't very many cards in this, but I have noticed that the cards that do exist here are really quite interesting. So hopefully they'll help us along our journey in May, because we've had a couple of really torrid months. Everyone in the world has been subjected to quite a high level of anxiety. And I hope that this month's readings for May 2026 will help to curb some of that anxiety and bring us all back down to earth and to a situation where we can actually be kind to one another. So let's get started, shall we? To begin with, let's select an oracle card to help us along and give us some extra definition to the colour reading. As you can see, my shuffling has not improved at all. Anyway. Okay, we'll pop the card over here. So, a colour reading for people born in December to look at their May 2026. And firstly, we need a combination that indicates their strength. And what do we have? We have purple on white. And now, what is going to be the obstacle to overcome in May? And we have grey on cyan. And the additional energy that is available to you throughout the month is red on orange. The strength is purple on white. White is a flash of enlightenment. It's a reality check. And that reality check has come through for you in May as a way of reorganizing your life. Purple is all about creation and destruction and power. You are able to get rid of all of the dross from your life and replace it with something or build something different that will enable you to feel as though things are getting better for yourself. This is a rather optimistic combination, even though if we look at it in terms of the tarot, this represents the devil. The devil is not only addiction, but it's also permanence. There is a structure here of something that comes from the past. You have had this situation before, and you want to establish something that is permanent in your life that will not constantly make you feel empty, so that you're constantly having to make changes. As a strength together, this allows you to establish something in perpetuity. This is something that is a very good sign if you happen to have come into a relationship recently, because it allows you to settle down. You no longer have to be seeking for whatever it is that is necessary to fill the emptiness that sometimes occurs inside. And in the real world, you no longer need to find yourself constantly having to make major changes in your life in order to satisfy this yearning that you feel internally. But as a strength, the devil is always a good sign. It shows that you are moving on the right path. The obstacle you are facing is grey on cyan. Cyan as an obstacle internally is always about stagnation. You're feeling as though things aren't changing. You're stuck in a place where you really don't necessarily want to be. Yes, you like the idea that things are unchanging insofar as there is a safety element here, but at the same time, it's a boring element. Nothing exciting is happening in your life. And in the real world, the grey suggests, because it's an obstacle, that there are lots of things that are coming towards you, but none of them actually float your boat. You don't feel enraptured by them. You don't feel as though you are captured and taken away somewhere interesting. This is also an extension of boredom to a certain degree, because it says that everything is fairly pale in comparison to the sort of excitement that you're used to back here. The additional energy that you have coming towards you as well is red on orange. Now, red on orange is very, very vibrant. It's full of energy. Orange internally is all about courage and confidence and feeling as though you can overcome any crisis, no matter what is thrown at you. And red in the real world says that you are always in charge. You are the master of your own destiny. But red and orange, particularly in this position, are also a warning sign. If we remember traffic lights, orange always comes before red. Orange says get ready to do what? To stop, to reconsider, to wait for the right time. Waiting is something that you're not very happy about, because waiting is what is embodied in cyan. And interestingly, cyan and red are opposites on the color wheel. So you're going from a dislike of stagnation to a needing to be very careful about what you do in the real world, even though that energy is available to you, because you could do yourself some harm. So let's have a look at the colors that are missing to see what they can offer us in terms of insights. There's no black, but you do have white. You have red, but no yellow, or green, or blue, or brown. But you do have orange, you have grey, you have purple, there's no pink, but you do have cyan. So what we have here, these 6 colors represent the skills that you currently are not using. For whatever reason, they're not available to you throughout May as part of your straight up repertoire. These 6 colors, on the other hand, are very active for you throughout May. But these ones offer you skills that are also available to overcome whatever the issues are here in the obstacle. So the idea is to choose from among those the one color that is most appealing and the one color that is least appealing, and take those 2 colors and use them in some form throughout the month of May so that you can increase this repertoire and also potentially give yourself access to all of the other colors in between. By accessing those colors, you're accessing the behaviors that come with them. I'm not going to go into these in any detail today, because I have each of these colors as a distinct personality type in videos on my channel. So if you care to look them up, they will also give you guidance as to what sorts of behaviors accompany those types of personalities. What I am interested in doing at this stage is to look at the interaction between the strength, the obstacle, and the additional energy that is available to you. So firstly, we have purple on white as the strength. We have grey on cyan as the obstacle. And we have red and orange as the additional energy. Now, leaving aside the red and orange for the time being, let's have a look at how the strength and the obstacle can interact. And we do that by swapping over the driving energies. So what do we have here? The purple ability to change and master and be in charge, to have the power over yourself, the thing that creates the permanence that's associated with this purple and white, now links to cyan, and the cyan comes from the obstacle. Here we have a situation where there is a need, a drive towards peace and harmony and connectedness with the world. You want to create relationships, you want to feel satisfied and at harmony, at peace with yourself. In the real world, changes are happening all the time. Things are falling apart, things are being fixed up. There is here a tendency towards healing, but there's also a tendency towards destruction. And that together forms a rather interesting combination in that it allows you to be constantly on the move, doing something new, something different, maybe having fun, maybe being extremely upset by the fact that things are not as harmonious as you possibly would like, remembering that the cyan comes from the obstacle. On the other hand, we could also take the grey from the obstacle's reality and add it to the white of your strength's inner life. And here we have grey on white. Now, grey and white are simply extremes of the same continuity between black and white in the colour schema. White is one extreme, black is the other. We don't have black in the reading, but we do have grey, which is a midpoint. So here we have a situation where a clash with reality, a sudden awareness, a sudden awakening inside has led to you having to re-evaluate things. Grey in the real world, even though it is a problem for you here, an obstacle to be overcome, when it is faced with some facts, some truth, some reality checks, it becomes a case of having to reevaluate, look at other points of view, and begin to assimilate those into your behavior. Now, we can also do the crossovers between the additional energy and those two. And again, we do this by crossing over the internal energies. If we do this, we find that this ability to make changes, to heal and destroy, is now linked to orange. But remember, this is a strength and this is a supporting energy. Now, supporting energies can be both positive or negative. And in this case, it could be either, because both orange and purple are colors of dramatic change. That dramatic change comes through as either destructive energy or creative energy. And it all depends on how you cope with the orange. Orange is all about confidence. It's about being able to survive crises. It's being able to put on a brave face in the face of challenges that come at you that are trying to usurp your power, usurp your ability to do the things that you want to do in the real world. At the same time, purple and orange, when they work together as a positive thing, give you the confidence to step into the world and make it a better place for yourself and for those around you. We also have the red from that additional energy, the being able to be your own master, and link it to the white of the major strength. This is perhaps not quite as positive. And the reason for that is that when we mix red and white together, we end up with pink, and pink is always a lack of energy or vulnerability. This is not pink, but it is the component parts of pink. The clash with reality, the sudden awakening to something that you did not realize was there before, that occurs here as your strength, comes through as a flash of anger, a flash of rage, a flash of energy dissipation, or even, and this is where the problem really arises, a loss of blood. You are putting yourself in danger in every which way you possibly can, simply because you don't like what it is that has suddenly come into your life as a truth that cannot be denied. So whereas the orange and purple together give you confidence to proceed and make things better in the world, the red and white together actually leave you pretty much exhausted. You really don't know where to go next. So let's have a look at how that additional energy works when we attach it to the obstacle. And again, we cross over the energies. Red as the action, as the energy available to do anything and everything, to be the master, is linked now to cyan. And red and cyan are opposites on the color wheel. And this is a rather uncomfortable position to be in most times, because it causes you to swing from one extreme to the other. Inside yourself, you want peace and harmony and just simply a quiet time. But in the real world, you are under constant attack. And because of that, you are having to fight back. And that fighting back is exhausting. You're constantly, we know that's exhausting because we had red and white back here. So you find yourself throughout the month of May potentially having to be in a state of high arousal. Now, that could just be passion. It could be that you're making decisions based on the spur of the moment ideas that cross into your mind. But it could also just simply be that you're making foolish choices that cause you to put yourself in danger. And you're doing that because ultimately that peace and quiet that you're looking for is also trying to get away, because remember, this is your obstacle, trying to get away from a state of stagnation where you feel bored. So you're doing silly things simply to escape boredom. On the other hand, we can also have the gray from the obstacle and link it to the orange of the additional energy. Is this any better? Well, I would say probably yes, because the orange, the activating, the most potent of the colors in that combination, is in the internal world. There is a drive towards being the person that you want to be, being confident. You know that you can be confident. You know you can survive. Doesn't matter what is thrown at you, you can survive it. And in the real world, it's all about balance. It's all about finding that middle road. You're being challenged. Okay, so let's find a compromise. Let's do something that will enable you to discover a way that possibly doesn't please everybody in the equation, but certainly is acceptable to most people because it is the most democratic outcome. So this is the color reading. You have quite a lot of energy in here, and it's up to you to use it wisely. Let's have a look at what the oracle has to give you. It gives you abundance. Lucky times are ahead of you, along with good news, success, and prosperity. Well, luck itself is generally associated with the color green, but it can also be associated with white, because white is anything can happen. So if prosperity is coming your way and abundance is there for you to take, then really it's up to you with this additional energy, the red on orange, to determine how you are going to apply that to your life.